Okay. So again, thank you, Jason. Jason McKeown is a communication and engagement officer working for several, entities, companies, and so on, who will have a sort of conversation with us about this quite general topic, which is communication and advertisement on human rights, skill building and tips. Together with him, the panel is made by Ria and Julia Mazzocchi, both from the Secretariat of this 2023 Padova Model UPR. I think it's time to start. So we asked Jason to give us some tips, technical, practical, doable things that we can do as the Secretariat, and in particular the communication team, to engage students, potential participants in our simulation from other universities. So how to talk about these initiatives, how to talk about also in general human rights, I would say. So be active in this field, okay? And please, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for the invitation. I'm gonna share my screen because I have slides to kind of help us along. So if you give me 2 seconds. So if you can see that all right, that's super. And I'm gonna try and your slideshow up, which it's preventing me from. Oh, here we go. Good stuff. Can you see that all right? Is that great? Good stuff. Yes, thank you so much for kind of having me here today to speak about human rights and communicating human rights and your kind of model UPR and maybe some hints and tips about how you can kind of spread the message or get more people on board or kind of things like that. It's like the burning kind of question throughout human rights and human rights kind of world is to get more people on board and to get more people sharing your work and get the message out there, and just kind of use the power of people then to kind of push forward your goals and your targets and things like that. So just by way of introduction, so technically for this, I'm doing this off my own bat, but I do work for the Northern Ireland Human Rights Commission. So that's the kind of national human rights institution of Northern Ireland. And we're set up to promote and protect the human rights of everyone in Northern Ireland. And a lot of what I'll kind of be drawing on is my experience kind of there. So just by way of introduction, my name is Jason McKeown. I've been doing comms for probably about 10 years now. And while I've been working at a kind of statutory body or a public body now for it's about 6 years. I have worked before in the human rights NGO sector before that, and kind of in the third sector as well. So I kind of have been trying to promote human rights for quite a long time. But yes, I'm here today, and I'm hopefully going to give you some useful information to kind of take forward. So the first thing is I've tried to keep it kind of light of the kind of technical kind of stuff and just kind of give you kind of like the benefit of the experience, or kind of let you know what's worked for us or how we've kind of tried to promote human rights, or kind of what might be useful for the model UPR kind of going forward. But the first kind of thing we would kind of normally do when we're looking at something, or whether it be like a campaign, or whether we're looking at our digital media channels, or whether we're looking at changing something or trying out something new, is we normally kind of have to sit down and whether it's something we currently have that we're going to try something new with, or it's something new in its entirety that we don't really have anything kind of, we're starting off from scratch. But we'll try and do like a SWOT analysis, which is just looking at the strengths and the weaknesses and the opportunities and the challenges of a certain kind of platform or social media channel or things like that. So basically in our work, we've got we've got four kind of main channels, and we did have five, and again we had to do a SWOT analysis before we decided to kind of move away from the fifth one, or kind of put a pause on the fifth one. And it's just kind of a good idea to do it because it kind of lays the groundwork for informing how you're going to try and what goals you're going to set up for yourself, and how you're going to try and reach those goals, and how you go about them, and what the challenges could be in the road, and what your kind of opportunities are in trying something new or trying a different approach. So we'd normally kind of sit down and do that kind of analysis, and then that would inform the kind of goals and targets that would kind of come out of that. And how we'd kind of measure what success looked like, or what a good result looked like, and what kind of pitfalls we might be kind of looking out for. So that SWOT into goals and targets, and then that kind of informs, then we build kind of like a communications plan around that. So if it is like a campaign, or if it's like if we're looking at it like a certain right, a human right, or we're looking to do something, we're looking to engage young people or things like that, then we'll have to, once we've kind of made those goals and targets, then we build like a whole kind of communications plan around that. And that involves, as you can see below, quite a few kind of different, it's like a multi kind of channel approach. And that does involve your social media, your kind of digital media, and your website. But it also kind of involves other things like your internal communications, like your email or your intranet, or your WhatsApp, and your external, your kind of newsletter that you're sending out to your stakeholders, or if you don't have to have stakeholders, it's getting a database of stakeholders, things like that. So you can see there's communications plan, and then there's the multi-channel kind of approach. I'll come back to brand and identity now in a couple of seconds, but whenever we are kind of doing something, we have to integrate all of these things together, and they have to form our kind of communications plan. So we'll kind of have our target at the top, and then we'll try and build everything around it. So what's going on our social media? When are our posts going out? Who are we targeting with our posts? Are we directing people to our website to fill out a form, or to see more, or to digest some news, or to look at our publication, or to get some resources and things like that? So the website is kind of like a hold all kind of for a kind of a hub, a shop front for our for all of our kind of products, for lack of a better word. And then, yeah, as I've touched upon, it's kind of then looking at what kind of channels do we use then to kind of also promote the message. Is it's like getting in touch via email to highlight something's happening, get people to sign up? Is it kind of like an intranet? I know like universities have intranet systems. Is that something that's useful for your university and your UPR model? Is it to kind of try and use that intranet to the fullest, or to get onto the intranets of other universities and kind of spread the word kind of that way? And then you kind of have third-party kind of platforms like Slack or WhatsApp, where you can all kind of keep in touch, or you can kind of reach out to people or get direct messages from people and things like that. And then finally, kind of external comms. Again, it's like at my job, we kind of have a monthly kind of newsletter, and again, that goes out to like a database of stakeholders. So if you don't have a database, or maybe you need to like kind of grow your database or promote your database, so that whenever you're sending kind of these things out, you have a large kind of pool in which you're kind of pushing your information out. And then finally, kind of below that is like almost is meetings. So it is kind of like digital now, kind of post pandemic. A lot of it is like hybrid. So you'll meet people on Teams or Zoom or things like that. So it is kind of, it's become a lot more of the kind of digital environment to have like meetings and to kind of sell or promote your kind of product kind of that way. So this was in here, and maybe, you know, on your own time, or if you're watching this back or whatever, you can maybe sit down for a few minutes and just kind of do, if you're looking at the model UPR or looking at some project that you're looking at kind of beyond that, maybe you can sit down and you can have a look and try and do like a SWOT analysis on what the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats are in the different kind of digital media channels that you're kind of using, or other kind of media like your website or your your internal comms or anything like that, and just kind of use that to try and inform yourself kind of going forward. So the next one, again, is a bit more markety as well, and it's just about you're kind of looking at your kind of target audience and your customer kind of persona. And I know this, like, sometimes this can seem kind of like a little strange and almost like stereotypical, but sometimes, like, if you have like a few kind of ideas of like of the target audience that you're looking to reach, then that can kind of help you get into the mindset of, well, we should be using this social media channel more, or we need to be hitting them with we need to meet with them and then follow up with like email, or we need to get them on our mailing list for our newsletter and keep them informed kind of that way, or we need to kind of invite them and partner up with them on something and kind of keep them that way with that kind of partnership. So basically, yeah, you can see there, this is from a marketing kind of textbook, but you can just see it's just like it's not a real person, but it's just kind of like an idea of what the kind of stereotypical maybe person would be. And again, it's not one size kind of fits all, but if you look at things like, you know, the kind of average age or what they like, or their, you know, make up a name for them and kind of personalize it a wee bit more, and look at their personalities or their beliefs or their interests, and then kind of delve a wee bit further. You know, what channels do you think they're using? How do you think they're getting their news or their information? How do you think they're getting, you know, how do you think they're seeing stuff about you, or how they get informed about things that they might want to kind of get involved with? Where's it coming from? Are they getting on Twitter, or are they, like, I don't know, seeing it? Is their tutor forwarding it on to them? Is it on the university's intranet or something like that? And then, yeah, you can also kind of look at what their motivation is for, you know, looking at your model UPR or seeing like some advertisement for it, and then going, yeah, I want to do that, or I want to get involved in that. You know, could it be like different things? Could it be like, you know, they're really interested in human rights, and this is exactly what they want to get into, like a, you know, like a career they want to get into? Or are they more, you know, do they think, oh, this will look great in my CV, or, you know, I'd really like to do this because this will help me explore whether I want to go into this field after university? And then finally, it's just kind of, how can you help them, or how can we help them? And it's just, how can we make that information as easily accessible for them as possible? How can we direct them to the website to fill out the form or to find out more information? How can we kind of make it easy for them to kind of get what they need so that they can move on to the next step, so they're aware of the model UPR? And how do we get them then to be like, we want to sign up and I want to commit and move on to the kind of the next stage where they kind of integrate themselves into the program, or they fill out the form to sign up for the program. So this is the next bit, and it focuses, yeah, a bit more kind of on personalized, and it kind of follows on from the kind of customer persona, and it's looking at, you know, where they're kind of coming from. And in my work, we've kind of tried to grapple with this ourselves, and a lot of the time it's about personalizing the issue, or personalizing the campaign, or personalizing it to your kind of target audience. So it's like looking at things like, you know, kind of making a big deal about, you know, why do human rights matter, or why should this person care about what you're trying to kind of put in front of them? You know, how do human rights affect my life? It's kind of about taking those like kind of small things that they'll see it, and then they'll go, oh wow, I didn't realize that this would, you know, this would connect with my life, or this is something that I needed to kind of get in on. And basically, in a lot of the work that we've done at the Human Rights Commission, it's been about kind of breaking down human rights into it's kind of bringing together that link between the kind of everyday issues that you see in the news that you mightn't kind of think of as human rights issues, and saying, yes, these are definitely human rights issues, and this is why. So, you know, you have a right to an adequate standard of living, or a right to health. Just, you know, those kind of things, making those kind of connections, and making those connections through kind of personal stories. It's whether you get, you know, someone to kind of talk about an issue that they've kind of, a human rights issue that they've kind of gone through, or whether, you know, whether this is something that would resonate with young people, whether it's young people talking to young people. So it's just trying to understand your target audience. And I know, like you kind of said that, you're interested in getting more kind of countries and universities to kind of get involved. And I know that you kind of have a wide spread of universities from different kind of countries. And, one way it could be, targeting them with, highlighting the human rights issues that are in their countries and trying to say, this is an issue, this is a big deal, and this is how you can try and, by joining this program, you can try and kind of do something about it or highlight it, or this can kind of integrate you to learn more about what's going on in your country and how you can like do something to improve human rights or kind of draw attention to human rights issues in your country. So it's more like, instead of the UPR being kind of a wide ranging kind of idea or like this kind of global idea, it's kind of making it more kind of centered or targeted to the state or the country that you're looking to kind of join. Maybe it's like France or Spain or something like that, and you're kind of like highlighting a few of the issues that are big that would resonate with someone in a university in that country, that would kind of catch their attention and get them to go, well, yes, I want to sign up to the Model UPR because I want to maybe delve into these issues a bit more, or kind of learn a bit more, or I don't know, try and highlight how we can kind of tackle these issues. And then the last kind of couple of points are just, again, what rights matter to your target audience. So I know the UPR looks at quite a wide range of rights, but is there some that you could focus in on more that maybe are more topical or could kind of capture the attention a bit more and then kind of make it a bit wider? Or it's just, it's looking at what matters to young people, and what they're kind of looking at or what they're passionate about now. And then the other kind of last few things are just, maybe you already kind of do this, but it's good to, like, with your previous attendees, it's good to find out what got them motivated to kind of get on board, and what they're passionate about. And that way you're able to kind of use them to kind of inform how you go about targeting young people for next year or the year after or things like that. Or it's like, I can use this to inform our social media posts because most people have been talking about, I don't know, like their benefit was they could, I don't know, talk about the right to health, or they could, they got experience in sitting with the Model UPR and kind of going through the UN processes or something like that. So you can kind of use that to kind of market it to other universities or other students in different countries to try and get them on board. And then finally is just finding about, and again, that kind of follows on from the customer persona. It's just, how do they like to be communicated with? Is it, is it posts on your social media? Is it something more? Is it like a direct message? Is it like an email? Do they want to get it via like a newsletter? Or do they want to be directed to the website? Are you gonna have like a like a Zoom call with their class or something like that, where they can ask questions or they can find out more from you because you're telling them about the process? So it's just trying to put all those kind of pieces together, and just learn as much as you can about what the young people want or what interests them, or how you can kind of get them bought into the process and the Model UPR and saying, this is something I want to kind of jump in on. So the next one, this is this is probably really boring as well. But again, this is something that the Human Rights Commission that we kind of had to do. And I remember, I think Leah was there when I started, and this was one of the first things I had to do for the Human Rights Commission. And it's had to look at branding and making the style and tone kind of more consistent. And I think, looking at that and trying to find out what your style and your tone is going to be, and just making it kind of consistent across all those channels, and making sure that whenever someone clicks on something, they know that it's yours, and they know that it's kind of trustworthy, and they know that it's looking, it's kind of looking professional, and it's looking the part, and it's something I don't know, it gives them a feeling that it's kind of like of importance, and that it's something that, you know, that they kind of should be in on. So you can see there, you don't like at the commission, you know, we had a whole kind of brand guidance and a whole booklet and stuff like that, and it really doesn't need to be kind of that level of detail. And I'm sure like us now, or like many organizations, like, you know, your resources are stretched and you don't have the kind of financial backing or the person power to kind of, you know, do all those kind of things. But it's just kind of like small things, just like making sure all of the, you know, all of your posts and stuff for your website is all, you know, is all like one kind of consistent kind of one consistent kind of tone and style and look and feel and those kind of things. So that's what all that kind of is there. It's just kind of making sure that, you know, when people are seeing something from the Model UPR, that they're like, yes, I know this is kind of legit, and this is, you know, this is kind of standardized, and it's like a seal of kind of yeah, that these guys are trustworthy, and they're gonna, you know, we're gonna get in and do a good job. So, but having that, yeah, across kind of your multi-channels and a multi-channel approach, and again, like like the kind of style can be slightly adapted across like your social media platforms and your website and stuff like that. Obviously, you're going to have a lot less, you know, characters on your Twitter than you will on your Facebook and things like that, and you maybe have a different kind of way of saying things and things like that. But as long as it's kind of like generally the same and can be adapted kind of slightly for your same platforms, it's just keeping your message kind of consistent. There's a little slide later on that has like a few kind of programs that are kind of that have like free or basic kind of packages where you can kind of use them for free, and you probably use them already. So if I'm teaching you to suck eggs and things like that, my sincere apologies. But these are just some of the ones that we've kind of used that have kind of helped us, because we haven't had the resource to you know, to spend loads of money on creating infographics and, you know, videos and all that kind of stuff. So and again, you might already do this, but the second last one is just, you know, if your resources are low or anything like that, it's about looking for potential partnerships. Or I mean, to give you like one example, we didn't really have a whole great deal of money, but we partnered together with a local university here, Queen's University, and we partnered with their kind of broadcast and design students, and they kind of helped create 2 short animations on climate change and human rights. And that was kind of like a partnership where, you know, we didn't have a whole pile of money, but we kind of worked with them. So they were working on their kind of, you know, to finish their qualifications and things like that. And this was a project that kind of helped them kind of do that and develop their skills. And at the end of it, we kind of got 2 really kind of good, useful kind of resources, and we had kind of like a launch, and we kind of, you know, we were able to kind of give them like a platform so that their work was like published, and whenever they left university, they could kind of, you know, use that as like, you know, this is an example of my work and things like that. So it was just about, you know, when you're in this situation like we are, it's just about trying to maybe find partnerships where it's mutually kind of beneficial, and you can kind of reach your goals kind of that way. And then finally, I've said this this already, and I'll probably not the last time I'm going to say it, but just making sure you know what platforms your target audience is using, and then kind of maximizing or making sure that you kind of put your resources or put your time, put your skills into those kind of those platforms, so that you can kind of get the best results out of that. And yeah, the next one is is influencers, and it's not paying like someone who has like 10 million followers or 10,000 followers on Instagram or something like that. It's more kind of like, I mean, that's great if you have the money to do that, and I know other like national human rights institutions have done that and have done that to kind of great effect. But if you're on a shoestring, like my own work, you're kind of looking at more, how can you bring it down to kind of our level, and how can you kind of partner, or how can you kind of get, you know, the people in your team or the people that you know through kind of different partnerships, how can you get them to be influencers for you? So I guess the main thing kind of out of this is, you know, and I'm kind of going to touch upon it later on. It's about using the people who have maybe signed up or who've been on the program before as your kind of brand ambassadors, or to kind of shout from the rooftops, or your even like your comms team or your students at the university. It's just about getting them kind of on board and getting them to be like a board, a kind of megaphone to kind of amplify your message, or to kind of carry your message forward. And that could be as simple as, you know, you putting out a post and getting them all to kind of like it or share it, or, you know, having something kind of like that. And it's kind of amazing how much like young people listen to other young people. Like part of my work is to go into schools and speak to young people, and a lot of the time whenever we give them kind of like they sit and they listen to me, and I'm giving them the kind of the normal kind of presentation and stuff like that. But whenever it comes to kind of interactive activities and they're kind of having to speak to each other themselves, it's more kind of like, you know, young people listening to their peers or being influenced by their peers, or kind of maybe, yeah, respecting their opinion a bit more than they respect mine. So it's just about trying to kind of find those kind of opportunities where you can get the young people who are really kind of interested in the UPR, the model UPR process, or the team you have at the university. It's and I'm sure they're all, you know, super keen already. And it's just about trying to maybe find other kind of pockets of people, or kind of other like-minded individuals who are kind of friendly to what you're doing, and who maybe, you know, would end up kind of amplifying your message because they like what you're doing, or they agree with what you're doing. So obviously that end of things, getting your peers to kind of do that. But on the other kind of end of things, it's maybe getting engaged or vocal teachers and academics, or using kind of established networks. So if your university traditionally has a great working relationship with other universities or with other academics, it's just about maybe getting them to kind of promote your message, or kind of take it forward, or reaching out to people that, you know, are kind of influential and that are kind of happy enough to kind of put forward your message. I know here in Northern Ireland, like, we have a good relationship with the two universities here. And I know that whenever we kind of have something we want kind of sent around their intranet or out to their students, like lecturers and academics are more than happy to kind of spread that message among their students, and sometimes, you know, very actively coming to us and asking what we can, you know, give them so that they can kind of disseminate it. So it's just about using those kind of networks that maybe don't cost the earth, or you don't have to pay someone to kind of promote your message. And then, yes, just looking at the impact and the value of participating, and just highlighting that to students or prospective students that might want to kind of sign up. I think I have a bit more kind of later on that kind of focuses on this, but it's just like, you know, do you get something out of it? It's like, I know you have like an award ceremony, or it's like, you know, you can put this down on your CV, or you can, you know, you can make a difference, or, you know, those kind of things. So if there's a way that you can say, you know, because of the model UPR, we were able to do this, this, and this, or someone was able to get this, or someone went on to doing this, or whatever, and then that's those kind of wins are really great to kind of highlight. And then it kind of runs into the last kind of bit, and maybe that's something for your website, or for highlighting social media. And I know I kind of mentioned earlier about you know, like a survey, or like looking at previous kind of alumni who kind of went through the process and really enjoyed it. It's about maybe getting like a few words of like testimonials, or, you know, having somewhere where people who are maybe like on the fence can visit the website or something, or see online that, you know, somebody really enjoyed this, or someone really got something good out of this, or that they've, you know, been able to use this as a springboard in their career, or whenever they left university, or, you know, they went and they were unsure at the start, but by the end they, you know, they really had a passion for human rights, or for, you know, for like a certain area or something like that. So just highlighting your kind of your wins and, you know, how like important this program is, and you know, the good things that people have gotten out of the program, just to be able to kind of point to someone who's maybe like come to the website and is having a look at the info and is maybe kind of on the fence. If something's saying, you know, this is brilliant, I had the best time, this was a great experience, then I mean, yeah, that's win-win for everybody. This might kind of like tip them over the edge, and that's when they hit the kind of apply button. So the next thing is partnerships. And again, a lot of what I was talking about, and a lot of, I know what you want me to talk about is sort of digital and online as hints and tips and things like that, and looking at the online. But sometimes, and we find this like at the commission in my work, sometimes it's like almost like boots on the ground. It's that kind of interaction, kind of either like face to face or kind of through Zoom. It's like getting in touch with someone and meeting up and like selling the model UPR. It's like identifying, you know, maybe there's, you know, maybe you could identify 5 or 6 other countries where maybe like there's a couple of universities that, you know, have like a really good or keen kind of human rights kind of element to them. And, you know, you're identifying like, you know, they would be perfect to kind of, you know, maybe send a team over or join the model UPR and stuff like that. So it's just about maybe identifying those and then reaching out to them and kind of starting a relationship or building up a relationship or selling the model UPR to them so that they can go, right, well, that sounds good, we'll partner up with you and we'll send some people over, or we'll get some people signed up and they can kind of input into it, and we'll see where it kind of takes it from there. Sometimes it's just that, and a lot of the work that we're doing at the commission lately has actually been targeting people directly, like I said, via email, and then following up with, you know, like a phone call, or following up with like a Teams call, or following up with like an in-person meeting where we kind of, you know, let them know what we're about, answer any kind of questions they have, any concerns, and then it's like, you know, this could be perfect for young people, or, you know, if it's young people that you're speaking with, they'd be like, right, this is great, this is something we want to kind of try, or this is something we kind of get involved with. So, and at least that way, you know, if you're reaching out to these universities and you're reaching out to academics in the first instance, you could maybe like sit in on a class, or you could, you know, appear before like a class, and that way you're kind of interacting with the young people directly, and kind of answering any kind of questions or concerns they have, and then you can try and kind of get them to kind of sign up. And then kind of beyond that, you know, you can be like, this is where you go to sign up, or, you know, get the tutor or the academic or the teacher to kind of promote your stuff on your website, or promote your kind of posts and things like that. So, and again, it's looking at, you know, it's either universities that maybe, you know, have a really great human rights faculty, or like normally are doing leading on human rights, or have like a very kind of engaged human rights student body or something like that. And then it's like identifying maybe engaged or vocal teachers or academics that are going to be like, right, my students need to see this, I need to spread the word, this is the model UPR, this is how you can kind of sign up. And then, yeah, I've kind of touched on this already, but again, it's like also kind of letting them know about the impact or the value of participating in the model UPR. So again, maybe that ties all back with your customer persona, or trying to figure out who, you know, who is the person that you're trying to reach, or who are the people that you're trying to reach, and you know, how's the model UPR going to appeal to them? You know, is it the awards and the prestige of being part of something so great, or, you know, the recognition of being like, you know, part of like a, you know, like a state party, or like, you know, being sent over, or is it something great that for their CV, or like, you know, they want to work in the UN, or, you know, just, you know, like something like that, or like they're, you know, they're really kind of big into human rights, or they have like an interest in human rights and they want to explore it more. It's just, yeah, it's just about that, and how you kind of, you know, identify partnerships based on looking at kind of those and selling those kind of as well. Right. I'm going to take a drink of water just really quickly. But if there are any questions so far, I'm happy to kind of take those too. Nope. Okay.
Not from my side.
Yeah. No, that's grand. Yep. No, that's grand. So yes. This next one is, just I think you kind of asked about like working as a team. And again, I didn't want to bore you with like loads of kind of technical details or whatever. I just kind of wanted to kind of pull out what works at my job at the Human Rights Commission. And again, it's just pulling everybody together. So everybody who's, I don't know, on the planning committee or everyone who's leading on comms or whatever it is, it's just pulling them kind of all together and making sure that everybody kind of regularly checks in and knows what they're doing. So at the Human Rights Commission, sorry, I have a shouty pug. At the Human Rights Commission, we have lots of meetings and check-in meetings to make sure everything's okay and everything's understood and everybody knows what they have to do and what their role is. And if they don't, it's being assigned roles or, what they're responsible for or what they're leading on or what they're taking forward. So it's just that kind of clarity, just so things don't get lost. And I know like sometimes it can feel like, meeting upon meeting upon meeting and you're kind of all meetinged out, but they have proven kind of rather valuable to kind of just keep on top of everything and everybody knows what's going on and something doesn't get lost in translation or somebody doesn't get their role mixed up. So yes, regular check-ins and meetings and open kind of communication, whether that's through your WhatsApp group or through your email or even like on Teams or something like that. But yeah, the next one I think I touched on was just knowing your role and being clear on your role. And if you're not clear on your role, finding out and checking in with your project manager or whoever's kind of leading and making sure that you know what you're supposed to be doing and when you're supposed to be doing it. So then the next one is there's a lot of kind of planning and adapting. There's a lot of meetings around that as well. But again, it's like you have your plan or you have your comms plan or you have your campaign plan and you're rolling it out or whatever. And then something happens, I don't know, something's in the news or something unexpected happens. And then it's just having to adapt or making sure that you adapt to kind of any rolling with any kind of punches and that's where kind of regular check-ins kind of meetings kind of come in handy. It's like, it's kind of catching something at the start if something's gone wrong or something's kind of not panned out the way that you thought it was going to pan out or it's kind of gone a bit awry or something like that. It's just meeting together and making sure that you adapt and that you plan for any kind of risks or anything like that, and that you kind of that you're able to kind of make sure you have a clear way of navigating anything kind of that you weren't expecting. And the fourth one is it's just like reviewing your targets as you go. And again, that'll come out of your SWOT analysis and your persona and your kind of communications plan and your goals and your targets and things like that. So it's just making sure you keep refreshing yourself with what your goal is. It's like we want more people to sign up, or we want to get more followers, or we want to target a certain section of people or young people on LinkedIn or something like that, or we want to get so many hits off our e-newsletter or something like that. So it's just making sure you're aware of those targets and kind of reviewing them kind of as you go along. So just being aware that, right, well, maybe we're not going to make this target. So next time we need to kind of revise, or we need to kind of be cognizant of what's happening in the world around us. And then, the fifth one is like utilizing the strengths and skills of your team. So there's a very small kind of team. There's only 5 comms people in the commission. And they've all kind of got different skills, and we've just had to kind of roll with trying to utilize the strength and skills of the teams. So some people in the team have like an amazing kind of you know, amazing kind of connections with a wide range of stakeholders. They just know anyone and everyone pretty much, and they've built up these relationships over years, and they're the person to go to if you're like, well, we've got a project and we maybe want to reach out to someone around homelessness or domestic violence or something. And they're like, yes, this is who you need to go to. We'll set up a meeting for you. I'll do the introductions. We'll see, we'll take it forward. It can be something like that, or it can be something like somebody's like you know, maybe someone in your team's doing communications and they're a whiz at your social media, or they're really great at Twitter, or they're really great at like infographics or doing video. They've got video kind of editing experience, or they can subtitle it, or they can shoot it, or something like that. So it's just about trying to identify, maybe someone has like a niche kind of talent or a strength or skill or something like that, that you can kind of go, well, that's brilliant. We can put your expertise to work on this kind of area of the plan, or getting people kind of set up, or, you know, this is how you should be kind of reaching out to young people in other universities, or, you know, you can write something that really kind of resonates with young people, or with people kind of your own peer group, or things like that. So it's just about, yeah, trying to identify those and then trying to kind of play on them. I know it doesn't work all the time, because there's some stuff where it's just like, right, everyone has to do this, but if you can try and pick out those kind of strengths and skills and try to play to them, that kind of like helps you out. And then, yeah, the last kind of couple are just, yeah, it's like trying to measure results kind of at the end of it, and kind of get feedback at the end of it. So again, it's like, you know, you're doing your model UPR this year. It's like maybe having, and you probably maybe already have it in there, but it's like building in your feedback survey. It's like trying to maybe, you know, tweak the survey so that you get kind of a few great quotes, or you get, you know, somebody like tells you the impact, or, you know, you get something really valuable that you can kind of use. And then there's also something where you can kind of like measure against your results. So at the start you were like, right, well, we wanted to get 4 or 5 extra countries signed up, and this is, you know, this is kind of what happened. Or we wanted to get more kind of inquiries or more applications or something like that. So it's just being like, you know, this is the goal that we want, and then at the end of the process going, right, well, did we make the goal? Do we need to do something else? You know, did we undersell the goal or whatever? And then it's just about what feedback can we learn, or what can we learn from that, or what can we get back from that, so that the next time when we go to do it, we can kind of like tweak, or we can kind of adjust, so that we're, you know, I don't know, higher targets, or, you know, more satisfied customers, or, you know, things like that. So, and then finally, it's just like acknowledging and celebrating your successes. And sometimes, you know, sometimes like at the commission, sometimes the successes can just be something really small, something really tiny, like, you know, getting a couple of schools on board for like a kind of, you know, multi-school kind of presentation or kind of event, or even just getting some really good feedback on our social media channels and stuff like that. It doesn't need to be like we got 10,000 people to come to our event and, you know, we made a load of money or something. It can be like the small things, but I think you should celebrate them, and you should be like, right, this is good. This is something that we've kind of worked towards, and we've kind of hit our target or got our goal, and then use that kind of as a catalyst to kind of, you know, set the next target, or to kind of push you on to kind of, you know, do better kind of next time, or do even better next time. So we're moving into, so I know like you kind of asked for looking at kind of social media, your social media channels and your kind of digital media and things like that. So this kind of next section is just kind of looking at some of the channels that you use, and some of the social media kind of end of things. So you can see there's like a range of different logos there, and they're all kind of like free or basic kind of platforms where you can kind of do different kind of things. So you've got like Hootsuite there up at the top, which is, and again, you might maybe use some of these, but you got Hootsuite for like scheduling posts, or kind of having all of your all of your different social media channels in one place, and it kind of gathers kind of analytics and things like that and measurements, which is good for your like targets and for seeing like how well you're doing on one platform and maybe looking at another platform and things like that, or for, you know, scheduling out all your posts and things like that. So Hootsuite's kind of good for that. And then Pictochart is more, Pictochart and Canva are more like, you know, and you probably use these already, but, you know, it's about like creating your infographics or, you know, getting your information in a, kind of like a nice kind of branded kind of way, and kind of getting it kind of tailored to whatever social media platform you're putting it out on. And so that's like easily readable, or that it's eye-catching, or, you know, things like that. So so those kind of two there are kind of handy ones for that. MailChimp we kind of use for our e-newsletter, our kind of email marketing. And we have like a database of people on it, and that's where we send out all our information, or we try to get people to sign up to events, or we invite people to events and things like that. So MailChimp's kind of a great one for that. And then the last two, so this like Capwing. So we also kind of use like Adobe and things like that, but I know that's like kind of like a cost kind of every month. But this like Capwing is like a video editing kind of software. So if you did want to kind of start shooting on mobile, or somebody was good with the camera or something like that, and you wanted to kind of do like video testimonials, or you wanted to kind of shoot something, like Capwing's kind of good for kind of editing it together and whacking in your subtitles and stuff like that. It's handy enough. I think the only thing is like on the paid or on the unpaid version, there's like a little kind of watermark down in the corner. But I mean, if you're happy enough with that, then it kind of does everything that you need to. And then finally, just in the corner, that v.io is just, if you maybe don't want to do video and you want to do audio, almost like you know, podcasting or just audio clips that you can put up on your social media, then v.io is kind of handy for that as well. So you can just kind of record it on your phone and upload it there, and kind of maybe make sure the sound's okay, and kind of, yeah, then get it kind of exported into a format that you can share on your social media posts. So yes, delving into social media, we do have to focus a lot of our time on our social media, because we reach audiences that we wouldn't ever be able to reach with via our website, or via our emails, or even via our kind of like stakeholder databases and stuff like that. So for a lot of our campaigns and things like that, we do have to have like a communications plan, and we've got to get these scheduled in to like a calendar of posts. And the great thing about some of the social media platforms that you are using is that you can schedule the posts out, and some of them even tell you when, like Twitter and Facebook even tell you when the most active time your followers are on for. So, oh, sorry. And again, like as I said before, the style and the tone and the length of the posts can be kind of slightly adapted. So whatever kind of messages you're trying to get out there, or whoever you're trying to target, you can maybe kind of like tweak or make them longer. Or, you know, if like on a platform like LinkedIn or Facebook, you know, people are maybe going to read a little bit more text than the character restrictions of Twitter or something like that. So it's just, yeah, about being kind of able to kind of adapt and roll with that. But yes, as I said, yeah, you can use Pictochart or Canva. Again, I know I've seen that you've kind of got some videos on YouTube and things like that, but even if you know, stuff for like on the hop kind of video testimonials or whatever, just using video, getting video out there, maybe even moving into like podcasting, maybe that's some added value you could give to people who kind of sign up or attend the Model UPR or something. You can do like a quick interview with them, or if they win an award, you could sit them down like a podcast and maybe, you know, speak to them about human rights, or speak to them about how much it means to, you know, to get something, or to be part of the Model UPR. And again, as I said, you know, we don't have endless amounts of money, but again, it's, you know, possible partnerships with your comm students or other students at your university that are maybe looking a bit of experience in something, or have an interest in something, and they want to kind of help out. So yeah, the last kind of couple of 2 points there is just identifying the kind of one platform that maybe you want to focus on the most, or that your target audience might use most. If you do kind of have budget, maybe just picking one that you can kind of focus on, or you could put some money into, or you could have some budget to kind of use on. And then, yeah, the last one is just repeat. And again, it's just, I find like even in our work, like, you know, it's something you just keep have to do. And it's like, instead of just posting out once about something, it's just like posting out about it like every like few days, or like a couple of times in a day if it's coming kind of close up to it or whatever. And it's just making sure that it's there and that it's getting out to people, and that, you know, sometimes when you post out in the morning, it's not like a good time in the morning, or everyone else is posting at that time. So you maybe need to, you know, post in the evening, schedule something to go out in the evening that's maybe going to reach more people, because it's maybe a bit quieter, or people are at home like sitting scrolling on their phone after a long day at school or at work or at university or something like that. So it's just, yeah, it's just about getting it out there in a mix of like times and days and things like that, at the weekend or whatever. So it's just, yeah, having that all kind of contained, or thinking about that and having aware of that when you're making your kind of plan, your communications plan, to kind of cover all of those kind of hours of the day. So I'm just going to go through some of your social media channels. And again, this could be useful. I hope it is. But again, you might turn around and tell me, well, we have no money to do any of these things. So, but I'm going to start with Facebook, because it appears that Facebook is your most followed, and you have your most followers on Facebook. You have like over 6,000 people on your Facebook, which is amazing, because yeah, that's a lot of people you could potentially kind of reach. And maybe you have tried this before, but this is something that we've been trying to do to like target specific groups of people, and it's boosting kind of Facebook, boosting your Facebook posts. I know you can kind of get bogged down into like Facebook advertising and things like that, but we find that kind of works for us is the boosting of the posts. It's kind of like a short, sharp kind of push that kind of gets people kind of engaged, so they'll either comment, or they'll like, or they'll go through a link, or they'll sign up for something. So that's where I'm going to kind of come at it, because I know that you said that you're looking at, you know, how do you like target young people in all the universities, or young people in your university. And the great thing about, you know, boosting or promoting these Facebook posts is that you can see there in the slides is you can kind of tailor your audience and target them. So I mean, at the start, yeah, you can see, you know, you can set your goals. So if, you know, if you've got your application, or you've got some testimonials on the website, or you want to drive traffic to your website, you click a goal for website visitors. Or if you want people to engage with the post, or if you're sticking a post up that's like the application form or something, and you're trying to get people to interact with that, you can stick that down as like get more engagement, or get people like, you can click on the get more website visitors, because it's just like people who are more likely to click a URL. So if you have the URL to apply or something, that's a great way to kind of just get that in there, and kind of promote it that way. But yeah, you can see up in the corner there that you can click on people you choose through targeting. And this is where, like, for our work, this is where we've kind of tried to target young people, or people who are into sports, or people who are into business, or people who are into, like, have a passion for climate change, or for certain human rights issues like health, or work for an NGO, or have interests around human rights or things like that. So that's where we try and get those kind of details in. So you can see there, it kind of says 18 to 65 plus, but I think you can go as low as it's maybe like 14 or 15. And the great thing about this is, like, if obviously you're on Facebook, but they have their like Meta business suite. So you already have like an Instagram account. So the great thing is, like, if you promote your post on Facebook, you have an option to promote it on Instagram too. And at the start, so traditionally, young people is a hard to reach group for us at the Human Rights Commission, and this was really handy because we use this to target young people on Instagram, and the amount of like followers and interaction we got from promoting those posts from young people was actually like, it was skeptical at first, but it actually really kind of pushed young people to follow us and to interact with our posts, and to kind of, you know, like and promote kind of human rights on their own feeds. So that's definitely a way, especially, you know, if you're looking at maybe master students or undergrads, things like that. I mean, this is like a decent way to try out kind of targeting them and seeing that. So yes, you can see there specific targeting. You can save like that audience, or you can change the audience the next time or whatever. Integration into Instagram at no extra cost. So I mean, we only spend, you know, maybe like 20 or 30 pounds per week, but it really kind of helps us. So Facebook will tell you how many people it'll reach, and normally like spending that amount of money, you can reach maybe like up to 7,000 kind of people that you wouldn't kind of normally reach with an organic post. Especially now, like Facebook doesn't kind of deprioritizes posts from like businesses and Facebook pages and stuff, and kind of prioritizes kind of human and meaningful interactions. So you're more likely to see what your granny's posting on Facebook than you are what the Human Rights Commission or whoever's gonna be on it. So this is kind of the way forward if you want to try and kind of reach as many people as possible. And the other great thing is, so obviously you've got Facebook and you've got Instagram, but it'll appear on people's like news feeds and on their timelines, things like that. But it'll also appear like in Messenger as well, which is another way. So you can even get maybe like direct messages or private messages kind of off the back of that. So yes, relatively cheap. You know, you can run something for like 30 quid for 5 days or 7 days or something like that, and you can reach kind of a few thousand kind of accounts. And yeah, like I said, in that Meta Business Suite, you can schedule your posts. It will tell you when your audience is most active. So at our work, it's actually in the evening. It's you know, normally like 7 or 8 p.m. when apparently the majority of our followers are online. So we've kind of adapted and kind of done that accordingly, to kind of try and maximize the people that we reach. And then yeah, it's about getting, you know, your team, your faculty, your friends, whatever. It's other students. It's getting them to kind of buy into promoting your kind of stuff as well. And it's just about saying, well, we're putting this out now. We'd really like it if you shared it or you posted it or whatever. And then, you know, would you ever consider, maybe you have it, apologies if you do, but like a closed group or private group or like alumni group or something kind of value added, where you can, you know, get people who've signed up and kind of give them kind of, I don't know, exclusive content or exclusive sneak peek at what we're doing or what's coming up, or even, you know, posting the agenda or posting how it's kind of coming together or posting stuff afterwards. So they're getting kind of getting content, or they're kind of getting something added to being part of your group and to signing up and to interacting with the Model UPR. So that's Facebook. So LinkedIn is another one, and it's really kind of interesting. And I thought, when I was kind of having kind of look through, I thought maybe like this one would be like a really great one if you did have some budget, or like maybe even like if you didn't have budget. But I think this one is really good in that it's kind of got like a kind of professional tone, and it's kind of, I know from our own experience, there's a lot of like students on there, there's a lot of academics on there, and it's all about people helping each other out with things. You know, it's like, I think this would be great for you, or I'm highlighting this because it's like something really great, and like people kind of interacting in that way. It's like a lot less kind of, yeah, you're going to get a lot less kind of, you know, it's not the same kind of tone and style. You're not getting the same kind of people as you're getting maybe on Facebook or on Twitter and things like that. So it's all a bit more kind of professional, and they kind of have they have the same thing as Facebook. They kind of, you can kind of target and having a wee play around, because we've done this, that, you know, you can kind of boost posts there as well. And we've done a wee bit of that at the commission, but found that you can actually specifically target master students and different locations and create target audiences. So if you are looking students from France, or you're looking students from, I don't know, Argentina or something like that, you can actually specifically, you know, if you identify a few countries you really want to kind of focus on, then this is kind of great in that you can really kind of drill down to master students, human rights, you know, in Argentina or whatever. And the advertising price is slightly, it's like a little higher than maybe in on Facebook, but again, you could like run a campaign. I think you have to run it for like a minimum, maybe like 4 days. But again, you know, you could spend like maybe 10, 12 pounds, so maybe what, just, I don't know, 12 to 15 euro per day, just on trying to kind of target some of those. And again, what we found from LinkedIn is whenever we put something out, it's our staff that kind of come and then they kind of start promoting it. At first we didn't ask them, and now we ask them all the time. But it's just because LinkedIn is kind of that way, it's kind of just, so, I mean, if you are putting something out and you can go to the team, you know, if you're active on LinkedIn, could you please share our flyer, or share our application form, or the link to application form, or share this testimonial or something, or get this out far and wide to all of your followers on LinkedIn. Then this is like an excellent kind of center where, you know, you can get the students, or get the people involved in your committee or your organizing to kind of act as ambassadors for promoting the Model UPR. And you're obviously getting them to do it for free because, you know, they have their account and they're bought into the Model UPR, or they really like you or whatever, and they want to kind of, they want to kind of get that message out there. So and then the last point there is just, I thought maybe, it would fit in really nicely. And I thought maybe that was, I know, like Facebook and LinkedIn, you got all your followers on Facebook, and you've got like that potential with LinkedIn. It's just seems like a good fit. And then I have Twitter, and Twitter's a little less. It doesn't have that kind of engagement. I suppose I should kind of caveat. So I mean, you can do like Twitter ads. So this is like boosting a post, which is what I'm looking at. You can do like Twitter ads, or you can do LinkedIn ads, but they're kind of, I don't know, they're kind of a bit more complicated than just like boosting the post. So like doing like Twitter ads or like LinkedIn ads, it's like maybe like a longer kind of campaign. And then like Twitter and LinkedIn have this kind of weird thing where you kind of like set a budget for like over a certain amount of time. And then it's almost like you go into like competition with other people who are looking to, kind of like the premium kind of times, or premium kind of slots, or premium positions to like advertise. So if someone comes in with some big multinational corporation comes in and they've got an endless budget, then that's just you're not gonna get like a prime kind of like decent kind of like spot. They're just gonna squeeze you out, because it's almost like an auction kind of style. And we found that we really didn't get like a good benefit out of that for kind of like the money that we were trying to kind of work with. So that's why we've just kind of stuck to like boosting, and we've kind of seen results kind of in it. But it's good to kind of, boost the engagement with your posts, or kind of drive people to sign up, or here's the link or whatever, or to grow your followers, to kind of get more people kind of on board, or increase the awareness of your brand. But yes, there's no detailed targeting in this one. So you can see there, those are kind of the two things. It's like, what's your goal? Engagement, followers, more link clicks. There's no like, who would you like to target? It's like, how much do you want to spend per day? And then that's it. It's just like promoted. I think if you want to delve kind of deeper into that, that's where you have to go into like Twitter ads and things like that. But one thing we did have to do is, obviously it's maybe it's maybe like settled down slightly, but it was a bit kind of like volatile with Twitter at the moment, or over the last while, and they obviously brought in Twitter Blue. So traditionally organizations that maybe had the blue tick that kind of disappeared. So we've had to take the step of paying for Twitter Blue. And it's about like a tenner a month, £10 a month. And I suppose, and again, depending on your budget, but I suppose the benefit for us for kind of signing up to that was they do kind of have to verify us. So there was that kind of verification that we had with a blue tick before, but I think it was more, you know, they kind of prioritize your posts, and then you also have like the ability to edit your posts, and then you can also kind of tweet longer. So you're not restricted to that as like 240 kind of characters. You can also post like longer videos. So I know, you know, like the limit's normally like 2 minutes and 10 seconds. If you wanted to post the whole of last year's model UPR or all the segments or sections, and they're like 40 minutes long, 50 minutes long, you can kind of post them up there as long as they're not over like a certain amount of gigabytes. So I mean, it's handy enough, but again, I know it's a cost. But it has kind of helped with the promotion of our posts. We've kind of seen like an uplift in the amount of like interactions and likes and retweets and stuff like that since we have kind of started to pay for that. As excruciating as it can be at times. So yes, there's also analytics on Twitter as well to kind of look at when your audience is online, which is kind of handy, or, you know, kind of like a breakdown of what your most kind of popular post is that month, or who your most popular follower is. Maybe you want to follow up with them or something like that. So it's just kind of like handy enough to kind of look at those and see whether it's worth kind of spending all your time with Twitter, or maybe you just need to like focus a bit more on Facebook and LinkedIn or Facebook and Instagram or something like that. So, and then finally, if you've no budget, then just keep tagging people that, you know, like friendly kind of faces, or people who are kind of, you know, sympathetic to your cause, or who have like an interest in what you're doing, or kind of, you know, stakeholders or partners that you've got like a relationship with, that, you know, will kind of get it out there. So that's always kind of like a good one. This was just a joke, but it's one of the other kind of NHRIs actually did start advertising on TikTok. So they don't do regular content, but they like started an account so that they're like some short videos for a campaign they were doing would kind of start appearing in front of people, and it was kind of like a kind of I think it was like all human, all equal kind of campaign, and they said that their results were really kind of good. So it's maybe something, I don't know, if you do your customer persona, you might or, you know, your deep dive into who you're targeting. Maybe they're all on TikTok, and maybe that's an avenue that you need to look at, or Snapchat or something like that. Maybe you have to roll with where people are getting their information, or how they're getting their information. Maybe it's all visual, it's all video, or it's all kind of, I think that National Human Rights Institution, I think they kind of had short kind of snippets and things like that, just to kind of catch the eye. But they said it kind of worked a treat, and they only kind of used it for like that kind of campaign or kind of advertisement. So they're not putting their chief executive or their chief commissioner in front of anyone kind of every week or something like that. But yeah, it's good to maybe like look at potential other kind of platforms that maybe young people are on, or students are on, that would help you out, or kind of help spread your message a wee bit more. So these are the kind of last two slides. You'll probably be very happy to know. But it's just to kind of give you an example of the work that I've kind of done. And this was like a video that was done with the Simon community in Northern Ireland. So they're like a homeless kind of charity in Northern Ireland, and they kind of help people kind of all ages. But this was to kind of highlight hidden homelessness, and there was a particular kind of focus on engaging young people, like students or university students, or just young people, you know, maybe not in education or employment or training or stuff like that. Just generally trying to get young people to kind of think about this and to make the connection between homelessness and human rights. And it kind of highlights the Article 11 of ISESCR as the right to an adequate standard of living. And what we did here was we kind of partnered up with the Simon community because they work and engage with young people, and they have access to young people who are affected by hidden homelessness. So you could kind of get that personal story. You could, get that kind of raw kind of on the ground kind of, this is my life. This is why this is a human rights issue. And this is why, we should be kind of tackling these kind of issues. And it was also a platform for ourselves to kind of reach young people, but it was also a platform for Simon community to kind of highlight this issue and to kind of help us make the connection. So we were able to kind of use each other's audiences, but see there, we did the video with them. It had this young guy you can see in the picture here. So he was like one of the hidden homeless. His name was like Stephen, or is Stephen, and he's like living in a hostel, but he was like just talking about how his mum passed away, and he wasn't really close with his dad. We went to live with him, but it wasn't like, he was like a stranger, and he ended up just like homeless, just kind of like that, for no kind of discernible reason. He's no kind of like maybe like addiction issues or anything like that. And it was just kind of like talking about, you could see me on the street and you wouldn't think I'm homeless, but I'm living in a hostel, I have nowhere to go, I'm literally kind of at the bottom trying to work my way up. So just kind of like very kind of powerful language spoken in like a way, it's like young people speaking to kind of other young people. He's not being fed international standards or lines that that maybe would kind of switch people off. He's just kind of speaking from the heart. So he's kind of doing it from that end. And then you've got like Simon community and ourselves maybe kind of coming in and, providing kind of the higher level kind of context for people who, for maybe like university students or people who maybe want to know like a bit more or have an interest in human rights and things like that. So you can just kind of see there was like a launch event, and the campaign was like promoted, and it's periodically still promoted on like different kind of social media channels, but overall like different channels. So it's on YouTube and it's on our website, and it's on like our Facebook and our Instagram and our Twitter and our LinkedIn and stuff like that. So but it's gotten over like 10,000 views across all channels, and we kind of took that as a win, because that helps us now whenever we're like going out to schools or we're trying to engage with young people. It's like we've got the resource, and we know that it's kind of been useful for people, and we know that it's kind of like a winner. We feel confident kind of giving it out to people, or saying, you should show this to your students, or we need to come out and talk to your students about this. So it's kind of, it's kind of really been useful, this kind of partnership, and it's been really useful in kind of engaging young people and speaking to young people and having access to young people. So it's resulted in, again, it was like a partnership with the Simon community. So again, like a tentative partnership that's now turned into a long-standing partnership. So it's just kind of like applying that to, maybe reaching out to universities that haven't done the UPR before, that might be interested, and just starting those partnerships or opening up those partnerships and those conversations, so that maybe you can develop a relationship over time, that they're kind of like, sending teams over to the Model UPR every year because you've got that kind of long-standing partnership. You've always kind of done it. You've got a good working relationship and stuff like that. So yeah, out of that, it's become like a long thing. We've kind of partnered on things like World Homelessness Day and other like anti-poverty initiatives, or we'll attend their events or support them, or they'll support us at events and things like that. So it's just kind of like, working on those kind of partnerships. And it has kind of helped us kind of engage with young people. So not only like, in the Simon community, young people that maybe are using their services, we've been able to kind of engage with them and let them know what their rights are and how they can kind of use their rights. But it's also kind of been integrated into our educational outreach. So whenever we go out to post-primary school children or university students, we're able to kind of highlight this issue as a human rights issue and kind of show them this story, and then it kind of becomes a bit more real for them. So yeah, it's been disseminated through our e-newsletter and our partnership with other organizations that maybe have like stakeholders or databases or do kind of newsletters and things like that. So it's just, yeah, it's just about kind of picking up those like partnerships and making those kind of links on like issues that affect us all or that they would kind of be interested in, and kind of pushing forward with those. So I think that's it. Hopefully there's some stuff in there that's maybe of use or some stuff that you can kind of take forward. I'm happy to kind of try and answer any questions. I can send you like that video if it's handy for you to like play it or you want to kind of watch it. I can also send you the link to some of the like kind of marketing materials or links to those like to Canva and all those kind of like platforms and stuff if that's kind of any use. But hopefully that's kind of ticked some boxes or answered a few questions. But if I've been terribly off, you can tell me now and I'll try and fill in any gaps.
No, thank you, Jason. It was amazing. I mean, I followed you. I mean, a quantity of tips, of ideas. I have the feeling that some of the things that you propose that to do are already more or less in our I mean, they are envisaging to do it, or some of them have been done. I appreciated really the strategic vision that you have about these issues. It's not my job actually, but I'm fascinated by this. And well, I don't know whether Julia or Leah have any specific questions to ask.
Oh, yeah.
Leah.
Thanks so much, Jason. That was so comprehensive. And I can say that I'm particularly delighted that you spoke about the importance of planning, having a comms plan as well as a social media grid. It's something that I have really tried to emphasize within our communications team in the Secretariat overseeing the model this year. And I was just wondering maybe if you could speak a bit more about why it's so important, because I know you alluded to this in your presentation, but the importance of the social media grid, particularly in terms of being aware of how each platform has its own way of being used and how you can profile your content on different social media platforms. So this idea of the social media grid isn't just to say we will post the same thing on the same day across all the channels. It's to do with understanding how each platform works and how you tailor the content for that platform on different days to ensure harmony, I suppose, across the working week. So I don't know if you have any tips about how to really effectively use that grid in that context.
Yeah, it's really kind of comprehensive, but it's so worth it to kind of sit and do it. And like you said, there's like different audiences for each of your kind of your social media platforms. And like you're saying, you know, it might be that you want to focus on one more than the other because you get a lot more kind of interaction or a lot more engagement on one, or you find that your target audience is on one maybe more than the other. And it is like, I think whenever we kind of break it, we have to like break it down. It is like having, it's almost like having separate tables, like you said, with different almost like different messages, tailored for each kind of platform. So obviously, like on Twitter, you've got to be a lot more kind of succinct. So it's going to be a lot more kind of tight, or it's going to be a lot more kind of referring people to your website or something else like that. Whereas you have a bit more maybe freedom with Facebook or with on Instagram, it's you know, it's a lot of it's kind of more visual, so it's like, you know, maybe just having like a link in your bio. And so it's like having to kind of drill down to the kind of little kind of intricacies of each kind of platform, and kind of having to like tailor your content kind of that way, because like just posting the kind of same thing from like Twitter and Instagram is just not, it's not going to work. And again, you know, like you know, you could post a link into your Instagram kind of post or whatever, and it's just they don't kind of highlight it. It has to be up in your link in bio and stuff like that. People like it's not a good kind of use of your time. Whereas if you kind of try and tailor it for each platform and the kind of language, and you know, I think, you know, Instagram is a lot more kind of hashtags and things like that. It's just kind of in the long term, it's just kind of handier for you. And even if you like break it down that like one person's looking after Twitter and one person's looking after Instagram, and you kind of coordinate kind of on that basis where somebody's able to focus and somebody's able to maybe gain a bit more expertise in what they know works on Facebook or what they know works on Instagram, and they can kind of tailor their, you know, the response or the content, or they know what's going to get, you know, you're going to highlight something and it's going to get kind of people to kind of follow through, or it's going to get people to kind of sign up or share or something like that. So yeah, so it's just hopefully this is answering the question, but yeah, it's just, it is like, yeah, it's just so important to kind of tailor it for kind of each one. And I know sometimes like with like time pressures and with resource and with the amount of people you have in your team, like it can feel sometimes that it's just easier just to kind of paste everything into one and just kind of get it out there. But it does work whenever you try and add like a little bit more or a bit more detail on those platforms that allow, or you try and kind of tweak it slightly, because you know, like whenever you post something out about homelessness and you maybe mention, you know, you have time and space to mention the link between homelessness and the right to an adequate standard of living, that's going to get more kind of pickup, or, you know, people are going to go to your website because you've got a bit more information kind of on those kind of platforms and things like that. So, and then again, like on LinkedIn as well, just, you know, being able to, I don't know, just like LinkedIn's kind of really good in that it kind of like suggests some like additional kind of information for you as well. So it's just like integrating that in as well, like, you know, taking what those platforms are trying to do to help you as well, and kind of using that to kind of inform what you're doing too. It's just like taking that on board, because yeah, they're trying to kind of help you push your reach as well. But yes, I'm back to your point. I appreciate that. Yeah, you're probably like doing loads of this stuff, and I really didn't want to be like, yeah, telling you what you're already doing and being really boring about that. And I'm sure like even like on your, you know, your Facebook and your LinkedIn and stuff like that, you're doing kind of great work. So I don't want any of this to undermine your efforts so far. So hopefully that answers your question, Liam, but if it doesn't, let me know.
It was good to have, as Leah said, a comprehensive vision of what is making communication in this field, because personally, I just caught some pieces of what of the work that the team has been doing this year and the past years. So I was really fascinated by your presentation, by the way, because I saw now a little better the whole vision behind this communication job. And
yeah, it's sorry, I think Leah had just mentioned about the planning as well. Yeah, just that long, like as much kind of lead in time as you possibly can, because it's like from experience, sometimes you're like, right, this will only take, you know, this will take me a day to pull together, and then it ends up taking you like 2 weeks to pull it together, because you've got to like, you know, get everybody on board and everyone's giving their opinions, and you're trying to tweak your like communications plan, or you're trying to like draft stuff and people are giving you feedback and stuff like that. So it's great to kind of to have as much kind of lead in time as possible, just so you have it all kind of right there, and you know what you've got is what you want to get out, so that you're not you're kind of going into your campaign, or you're going into your like to your promotion of the model UPR, and you're like, oh God, we don't have everything ready for next week, or we don't have anything ready for the end of the day, or, you know, when's this going to go out? I don't know. So it's just, yeah, it's just trying to be as prepared as possible. It's because stuff always comes up. Just anything that can go wrong normally does go wrong, or something comes out of left field, or there's like a development somewhere and you maybe have to like tweak something, but if you have like a plan that's kind of where you've kind of thought of all those things beforehand, and you've had like the space and the time to think about all of those things and cover all those bases, and check with your you know, your team and somebody maybe picks up on something they hadn't thought of and stuff like that, it just kind of, it makes it a whole lot less stressful, and you're not kind of in the middle of it, kind of firefighting and going, oh crap, how do we deal with this? Or we need to pull these posts down because we need to like change them, or they're not, you know, they're not the message that we want to get out. We've changed our message or something like that. So it's just, yeah, having everything as clear as possible and everybody on the same page, and just kind of, just so you're just kind of there to just like gently push it out whenever the time comes is kind of vital.
Okay. Excellent. Thanks again also for this last comments, Jason. I think the time is over, and I have exploited you enough for today.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought when I was doing the presentation, I was like, oh my god, I really don't think I'm gonna fill like half an hour. Like it's just gonna zoom through. So I'm glad that that I didn't shortchange you in any way.
No, excellent. I think we can extract dozens of pills for our teams from your speech. Thanks a lot. Take care. And
thanks very much.
Yeah, and say hello to Leah. Leah will be with us next week. I think you start your personal series. I think 3 or 4 meetings. I hope that there will be some. People will be less busy in the coming weeks, and so we can have an interaction. Because the idea is also to start working hand-on some stuff that you have to do. We plan to revise the manual of the model UPR, so we want really to get close to the production of the content. So now the content that we want to advertise about.
Brilliant.
Okay.
And sorry, if any questions come out of this or down the line or whatever, please feel free to just fire them on. You've got my email or whatever. I'm happy to kind of, if anything comes to you in the middle of the night or something, or somebody, you show it to someone and they have like a further question, or they're like, I have no idea what he's talking about. Yeah, please just get in touch.
We'll make a podcast with all questions for you. Okay.
Very good.
Thanks a lot.
Well, thanks very much, everyone.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Thanks very much.
Ciao.
Ciao.